Another beautiful day on Good Morning Anambra show. Today, Friday, the 24th day of January 2025. And we're so delighted to be here this morning.
Delightsome, that's the word. But I know you can't be more delighted than I am. This morning. I'm looking forward to a beautiful day, well-fulfilled day, a grace-filled day, and a day when I will have unmerited favor. I don't know about you, and I don't know about my viewer.
Of course,
I'm wishing in that.
Everybody craves for what is good, actually, and we thank God for this day, for the fact that this day is here. It promises to yield all its increase towards us. Thank you so much. My name is Nonya Nwokoye, welcoming you to the show today.
And my name is Ifi Onachukwu. Thanks for joining us.
All right, we'll begin with the press review. All right, and it's time for the press review. Would like to welcome to the live studios of Good Morning Anambra, Ejike Abata. It's good to have you.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I think it's his first time on this year, right? Okay, it's not your first time.
No, it's not my first time.
It's his first time with us, so we'll say Happy New Year.
All right, we begin with taking a look at some of the stories making the headlines on ABS website.
Yes, we have a whole lot of stories, both local and international. But we'll start with this. Man who burnt wife to death begs children for forgiveness as Anambra State government insists justice must take full course. Anambra State PPSSC chairman Ikejugu cautions school principals not to sabotage free education policy of government. Anambra State women protest death of woman burnt to death by husband. Anambra State Education Commissioner Chumu, they urges parents to take advantage of government free education policy. Internal security operations, Tinubu assures troops of improved welfare. WTO DG Okonjo-Iweala warns countries against trade war. And FG backs 50% telecom tariff hike. And we also have this, U.S. federal judge temporarily blocks President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. And finally, violent mutiny. 178 former paramilitary troops freed in Bangladesh after 16 years. Those were the stories that made the headlines on ABS website. So,
there are several stories about the trending story in Anambra State is the incident in Abagana. It's quite unfortunate. But there was another side of that story that trended yesterday. It was said that the woman has always maltreated her husband, and she even uses weapons against him when she goes out, and she stays out the night and comes back in the morning. But that notwithstanding, I've always believed, firstly, some men find it difficult to speak out when there's violence in the family. They find it very difficult to speak out. That's then number two, if you're not contented in your marriage, for God's sake, please quit. You are not the first person. You will definitely not be the last person. There's no shame in walking out of an abused marriage. or relationship. Now, see the situation the man has put himself through. I feel pity for the children left behind, because they will go through trauma, and this will live with them.
And even extended family, the man is the only child of his parents.
So you can imagine. So this will go. It will have a very lasting negative effect on the children in years to come. So it's very, very unfortunate. And
some of them will be traumatized.
They will, that's what I'm saying. So it will be with them for a very long time. And you know that stories like that will come.
The stigma.
The stigma will be there. People will use it to cajole them and make fun of them and say jokes about it. So,
but even now that the man has begged the children to forgive him, what if the children decide to forgive the man? Will justice blink an eye?
It's not a case between the man and the children. It's a case between the state and the man.
And the man, yes.
So he has done the noble thing, asking the children to forgive him. It's important. It's important that he asked for that forgiveness from the children. It's important he did that, but it's not a case between him and the children. Unfortunately, it's a case between the states and the man himself.
And I think and I believe that people should learn from this. You know, there's been a lot of write-ups here and there. You know, some people saying that there are people that are siding the man and all whatnot. But there was this particular write-up that went down well with what you just said. You know, somebody from Abag, and I wrote that. You know, he said, when you are not, satisfied, leave.
It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
The man said that it's just like, on a child used to say, Azikiwe, that someone cannot pass you away. That's the same way with women,
yes,
yes.
And
every other person. There could be a man that causes you to be angry over time. So, and there's one place I commented, I said, won't you live with somebody that the person is not happy with you every time the person is not happy that you are around? It's time to leave.
You leave.
You don't even wait before
there's no
shame.
You. There's no shame, please. There's no shame in it at all.
It's quite unfortunate.
And already, the woman's people, one of the representatives came to ABS, a lawyer, saying that their people said she should come and talk, and and bear her mind, that her mind should be the mind of Ndi Orifite.
Okay, the woman is from Orifite.
Yeah, she came.
Okay. I think she's a lecturer in UNIS, in law department. Yes.
Yeah. So she came and made her own, made her own representation of what she feels about the case, and that's representing her people.
Yeah. All right.
So, do we have any other thing to talk about here, where the Commissioner for Education is asking parents to take advantage of government-free education policy? Does that mean
that's also important. If you still go walk around, you still see children, underage children, hawking. Our problem in Nigeria is implementation of the law. We need to pick people and use them as examples, because as it is now, parents do not have any excuse. Initially, it was school fees was expensive, we cannot afford to pay, but these things have been...
There's another thing we should look at why you comment, sabotaging free education policy. The PPSS is cautioning schools. Because sometimes you say children are still on the street. Why are they on the street? Why are they not taking advantage of that, of the free education? Yeah. So what is keeping them on the street? Because since the government have said, go to school, do not pay. So why are they still there? That is another thing they need to find out.
Well, we cannot rule out the fact that there are still fees that are paid.
That's the thing.
We cannot
unofficial
whether unofficial, we cannot rule that out. Some school teachers, the head of schools, principals will still tell you the subvention we get from government is not even enough for us to run the school. So that's why when people talk about giving out scholarship, I ask, what kind of scholarship are you giving out? You don't give me 20,000 and say you are giving me scholarship, or you pay for one term. I say, if you want to give scholarship, let it be a whole scholarship. Let it be a wholesome scholarship.
Based on needs assessment.
Yes. So if you're asking children not to pay, then what's the arrangement or agreement with the school? and the head teachers, because know how much are teachers earning, let alone expecting them to dip their hands into their pockets to run school, the school. So that's another part of it. But then, I do not think that, notwithstanding, I do not think parents are still asked to pay as much as, too much they used to pay. That would cause them to take their children out of school and rather put them on the streets to hawk, which is another aspect of endangering their lives, this hawking of a thing. So I think implementation of the law is what we should look out for. Let there be examples. People should be picked up, these children should be picked up so that their parents or their guardians will come and explain and say, okay, this is the reason why
they are not in school.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much. So now let's go to Daily Times.
All right. Daily Times is next in our lineup. That's the first paper we are taking a look at this morning. Tinubu's tax reform will support Nigeria's revenue drive investment, says Carlo. The stories from the Daily Times says INEC announces date for Anambra Guba. FCT cancels polls. Ganduje prefers solution to end banditry nationwide. Insecurity threatening Nigeria's food production. Speakers talking. Food prices skyrocket by 97% in 1 year. Southeast hardest hit. National Bureau of Statistics. DMO to raise 450 billion naira through FGN bonds issuance. And of course, police accuses Sterling Bank of money laundering dealings. All right, these are some of the stories we're tracking on the Daily Times.
Okay, let's go to Vanguard so that we can take the two papers at the same time. Yeah, we have a screaming headline, inflation will fall, economy to grow by 4.1% this year. Who said that? CBN. Going up at the masthead, we have Transcorp Power posts 115% pre-tax profit to 305.9 billion naira. George temporarily blocks Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. I think it was on ABS website. Military's welfare are priority, says Tinubu. Telecoms tariff will be reviewed periodically, EDUN. And going down, we have how poor research funding stifles national development. I think they're talking about the scrapping of the TET fund and all these. Adego Kumoda, a court upholds Adedoyin's death sentence. Minister orders deployment of passport printers in U.S. consulates. Police rescue AIG Odumosu's wife, kill 2 kidnappers. That's on a positive side for the law. Ex-FCT Minister General Jerry Useni dies at 82.
Oh.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. And that's what we have there. Mr. and Mrs. Isn't that clear? We should have taken it. Well, let me try. There, they say woman is such a school. You will never graduate from it. Is that true? I'm asking two of you. The man said yes, men are such, I can't see this one.
Is the woman talking?
Okay, on serious students, instead of stunting, getting one, studying hard to, they prefer cheating in exams. Hey, this husband and wife, I don't know. So it boils down to what happened between that man that burnt his wife and all these.
And of course, so many other marriages, there are.
Instead of cheating, why don't you walk away? That's the thing. That's what we're saying.
Everybody wants to pass now.
Okay, so educate. I don't know.
The Daily Times, the major headline there, tax reform.
Tax reform.
Yes,
okay. Tinubu will support Nigeria's renewed drive investment, says Carlo. That should be Senator Carlo.
Yes, and it's unfortunate. Government sees Nigerians as cash cows. Each time there's a need for a revenue drive, everything falls back on Nigerians, falls back on the citizens to produce. thank God for our numbers. We are projected at 250 million. So if they begin to get a bit of taxes here and there, and no matter the amount, it will come up to something huge for them. So each time there's a need for government to raise funds, rather than I begin to ask myself, what happened to building of factories and industries like we used to have in the past? Some of these industries or factories are still in existence, though they are moribund, they just need to be revived. But government prefers to, look at the citizens and begin to get this revenue from citizens. It's unfair. In so short a time, there's increase in tax, there's increase in electricity tariff, there's increase in telecom, there's increase in fuel on Nigerians from one government in so short a time. And if you go to the street and begin to question how do you feel, do you think government, the obvious answer is no, we are not feeling the impact. If it were that we are seeing them dividends or whatever these funds are being used for, Nigerians will not complain as they do now. But we have a pile of load on ourselves, and then government continues to weigh us at every level. That's the problem. At every level, the federal government will come with theirs, state government will come, the local government will still come with their own. So this tax reform telling us that wasn't what Tinubu told us before he became president. What he told us is that they will widen the tax net and tax the richer. He made it clear that the rich people will be taxed more.
But that's how it's done world over.
You
pay tax according to what you
earn.
If you use big car, you pay big tax.
Money, yeah.
That's why some people, if you can't pay that big, you go for smaller cars.
But that's not what is obtainable today. Tinubu told us clearly that the rich people will be taxed more. So, but unfortunately, the reverse seems to be the case, and it's telling on Nigerians, and unfortunately we seem to swallow everything thrown at us. But I hope it doesn't get to where the government may not be able to handle someday.
And still talking about economic hardship, where we have, here we have the National Bureau of Statistics saying that food prices have skyrocketed from 97% in 1 year. Southeast, hardest hit. Why not church that is not touching us? And they're saying that we are in hard heat. And then we have the Speaker of the National Assembly saying that insecurity is threatening Nigeria's food production. Do we have to sit down and talk?
That is not news.
What should be the way out?
Saying that insecurity is threatening, it is not news. We all know these things about 3, 4, 5 years ago. So you shouldn't be telling us what we already know. What are the solutions they are preferring? Instead of telling, we all know that bandits and terrorists are attacking farmers in the north. So he shouldn't be telling us. We'll rather discuss the statistics from NBS, which, if you ask me, I think that is just the official statistics. Just like they told us, inflation is 38.something%. As far as I'm concerned, that is the official. If you look deeper, you discover that inflation, it's more. It's as far as I'm concerned, inflation in Nigeria is close to 50%. In Nigeria as we speak. So what we have there, food inflation 90-something, but it's just official statistics. It's unfortunate that prices of food keep soaring by the day. And I do not think, as it stands now, I doubt if we have any reservoir. We used to have a reservoir, grain reservoir. Now, I don't think we have any of such. Sometime last year, the president.
Can't we borrow a leaf from some of these developed countries that subsidize food?
We cannot.
It's only when you have a preservative
silos now.
Silos. Yeah. Like we have silos at. Is it before we get to Chukwemeko Odumegwu? There used to be a silo, but it's not working.
The thing is that going to your question, we cannot borrow a leaf because we are created differently. That's just the fact.
We've been traveling to those places, learning to bring home, pay tax. But other things, what's stopping us from?
That's why I said we are wired differently. You know, China produces everything. We go there, instead of learning how to produce those things, we go there and tell them to help us produce machines that spray money. These are the kinds of things we go there to learn. Yes, machines that, instead of going to learn what they do there, we go there and tell them to produce machines that, because they don't usually use such things. You don't use such things there.
And it's unfortunate that when you come into China and you see that spraying machine there, you will just guess right. It's going to Nigeria.
It's going to Nigeria.
Okay,
you don't get such things there.
If we get to Vanguard, CBN is promising us a 4.1% inflation decrease.
For the whole of 2025.
The economy will grow by 4.1% this year.
Beautiful.
Is that something that should be mentioned?
Talk.
Beautiful. The next thing is the implementation.
What are the strategies?
Work.
Even at that, for the whole of 1 year, 4.something%.
It's still very small.
It is poor now. It is poor. It's not commendable at all.
Please, let's see the Punch newspaper and see stories coming from the Punch. Telecom's tariff hike. Subscribers meet NCC today as Labour mobilizes for showdown. We have riders there. Labour officials talk tough and says telcos must be prevented from exploiting Nigerians. Now, opposition cautions against the diversion of 4 billion naira household bailout. Police posts 10,000 constables, plan 30,000 annual recruitment. Forced retirement, Falona urges Tinubu to reinstate 20 generals, 18 others. Refineries revamp, marketers eye rehabilitation of NNPCL 21 depots. Still on the Punch, we have other stories. Tinubu opens Abuja barracks, promises better soldiers' welfare. Now, on how we rescued ex-AIG's wife, killed abductors coming from the police. Oyebanji kicks against Sharia court in Ekiti, warns opposition. And OAU students' murder, appeal court affirms Oshun Hotelier's death sentence.
Okay, now on Daily Independent, we are tackling greed collapse with building of 34 substations, and we have the riders. 8 billion naira in 2025 budget for protection of power infrastructure, and also electricity has reached 3-year high of 5,528 megawatts. Okay, there's no Sharia court panel in our judicial structure, says the Ekiti government. NANS threatening nationwide protest over 50% telecom tariff hike. Agent says tariff will be reviewed periodically, and that's we're talking about NANS, and then we're talking about labor. Okay, Shetima Abdusalami Atiku will be to proffer solutions to electoral malpractices. Others. Tinubu assures of his commitment to welfare of Nigerian army. We've seen it before. And then when we go down, we see federal government okays 4 billion naira conditional cash transfer for vulnerable households. And the writer says approves 2 billion naira interest-free loans for rural farmers. Let's just take these ones.
As regards labor even NANS mobilizing, I'll just go to sleep, because these are two toothless bulldogs we have in Nigeria, especially labor. This is the weakest labor I've ever known. This labor led by Ajero. I used to see Ajero as a very tough person. It is said that people who are of his height are usually tough, but not this person that I'm seeing. This is the weakest labor I've ever seen. So telling Nigerians, he even said we should boycott. Boycott how?
So that was what I said yesterday.
How now? How
will you? Do you have any alternative?
Which alternative? Yes. Which alternative are you providing for before you boycott? And you are using the same telecom to tell people to boycott. So how would that happen? So as for labor, it will amount to nothing. So let's just keep labor and their threat aside. Even NANS, the same thing. These are birds that flock together. They don't have. When in the past, when in the military regime, for God's sake, when NANS talk, They are invited. Appeals are made to them. Not these ones. Have you heard any government official saying they will invite NAS and talk? No, because they know NAS it will amount to nothing. At the end of the day, a few of them will be invited to Abuja. They will be settled, and that is it. That is with the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria.
Let them talk about this hiking.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate what we are experiencing. As it stands now, instead of sending text messages for 4 naira, you text for 6 naira. A call that used to be 11 naira is now 16 point something naira.
You're not talking about data anymore.
I buy data of 3,000 naira, so it now amount to 4,500 naira for the same amount of. So it's and the way government seems to be on the side of the telcos is amazing. It's worrisome. We elected. I wouldn't say leaders because these are rulers. These are rulers who are in power. Instead of protecting the interests of Nigerians, they're protecting the interests of these telcos. Like somebody said, most of them have vested interest in these companies. Even the current head of MTN was formerly in government. So you see that it's a vicious circle. It's a vicious circle. So they know it's a game that they are playing. Why would initially telcos said they will increase by 100%? It's a slap on Nigerians to start with. 100%. We know that the business environment in Nigeria is not conducive. We know it's certain. But the business you are running in Nigeria, it is one that it's a cash cow as far as I'm concerned, because Nigeria
that condition, would they have the same condition in South Africa?
They do not have. To start with, the business environment in Nigeria and South Africa are not the same. That's number one. Number two, the population in Nigeria and South Africa they are not the same. Yes. They are making a whole lot from Nigeria, for God's sake. Initially, when these companies came through, their projection was that in about 10 years they will break even. But most of them broke even in less than 5 years. Okay. If you remember, MTN even said that sometime about 2-3 years when they came, they said Nigerians talk too much. That was what they said, because they made a lot of money. Wow. They said Nigerians talk too much. That was what they said there, because they made a whole lot of money from Nigerians. And now this business is something that the more as it ought to be, that the more your subscribers increase, the lesser your tariff will be.
That is what it should be.
That's what it should be. But this is what we have on our hands. And then what Tijani Bosun told us was that they will make sure that the tariff is not up to 100%. And he expects us to clap for him. Initially, he said the ability to be at least 50%. Now it is 50%. And he feels that he has done something noble for Nigeria. No! Okay. No, you are ripping Nigerians off.
You know, and just like you said something that they should watch it until they do the ones they cannot contain. You know, there's a limit to, how you can push people. It seems Nigerians take whatever comes their way, and you still see them survive. Okay. You know, maybe that's why these things are coming.
It's part of it.
Before they even say it, they've increased whatever.
If these telcos feel that they are not getting enough profit, I dare them to leave Nigeria. I dare them to leave Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Ejike. Now we'll just take one or two headlines in each of the remaining papers, so that we'll go. We don't have time. We're ending in 2 minutes' time.
Okay, The Guardian is next. How Nigeria can leverage tertiary institutions and tap talent. That's Heroes of School Sports. The big story is on pages 4 and 5, and of course, the Daily Times. Let's see stories on the
Daily Times, we have how Nigeria can solve food insecurity. And it says, business as usual, feeling shortages. That's Father Nzamujo. And then farmers need more government support from Mira Meta. With 15 food security related bills pending, says Speaker.
All right, we quickly move to the Nigerian Tribune. Japa, only 6,000 medical consultants remain in Nigeria. Just 1 or 2 produced annually, then 1,700 consultants approaching 60-year retirement age. All right, quickly comment on that.
Let's not miss on this one.
Okay.
Federal government directs WAEC, NECO, others to inscribe NIN, that's NIN, date of birth, photograph on certificates. Can you imagine? Your NIN.
Is that, I don't think that is necessary.
Is it necessary?
Why would you want to inscribe NIN, date of birth, photograph on certificates? I do not think there's any need for that.
I think they've started with certificate,
photograph.
But why
Yes.
NIN?
As regards consultants in Nigeria, it's unfortunate. It's the situation.
Remember yesterday there's a report that they are going on strike. The doctors in Abuja. Yes, and we were kind of, why won't they, Japa, when you don't give them good working conditions? You know?
It's like you said, they travel abroad and they see these things. Instead of coming home to replicate it, they rather do the opposite. So Nigerians are seeing these things. We know some persons have not been there, but they know how these things are run there. So everybody wants a better life. So you cannot take that. Even those who are in government still do not patronize buying made in Nigeria, below the Naira. They don't do that in those who are in government don't do it. So they prefer to go abroad and get some of these goods and services. So Nigerians themselves have found a way. People don't mind it. People sell properties just to leave the shores of Nigeria. That is how bad it has been. And imagine, and the Nigerians, there just seems to be, the Nigerian doctors seem to have the Midas touch, that when immediately they go to Europe and America, they become the toast of those countries, and they do well. So why can't we, if really we have a government that will practice a different kind of democracy, what we have is civilian rule in Nigeria. That's why we cannot be able to replicate what we find in Europe and America here in Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate.
All right, we can go on, but I think this is where we wrap up for today's press review. Would like to thank you so much, Ejike, for being here.
It's my pleasure.
And also remember that you can get details of this when you go to the next vendor's point or visit the website of the papers we mentioned. My name is Ife Wanachuku.
And I am Nonya Ngokwe. Do sit tight, for we have more coming up on Good Morning.
We're talking security,
Anambra.
and it concerns you, so don't go anywhere.
All right, do stay.